What would you do if you lived alongside intelligent monsters that looked like humans? Would you try to eradicate them? Would you hide yourself behind impenetrable defenses? Or would you try to make peace? Hi, this is They Are Gods to Us, and today I want to talk to you about the anime Frieren Beyond Journey's End, and specifically I want to talk about the demons of Frieren. Last year, the anime Frieren Beyond Journey's End came out and was met with effectively unmitigated praise, largely due to the show's brilliant writing and character work. However, if there was one aspect of the show that was met with less than completely stellar reception, it was the show's inclusion of a race of completely evil people called demons. This is not because the demons are badly written. Nothing in this show is badly written. But rather, the nature of these fictional creatures provokes some uncomfortable questions. In the setting of Frieren, alongside the traditional fantasy races of dwarves, elves, and humans, there is a species known as demons. Demons, we are told, enjoy eating human beings, and have been at war with the other races for as long as recorded history. However, demons, for the most part, look and sound like us. They speak our language. They behave the way we do. This has led some people, both in real life and in the fictional setting of Frieren, to wonder, is peace impossible between demons and the rest of the world? Maybe, if we learn to look past our differences and our history, we could come to an understanding. Maybe, deep down, we're all the same, and if we really, really worked at it, we could live together in peace. Except that the demons of Frieren are not the same as us deep down. In this setting, demons and humans are far more different than any difference between the races of humans in the real world. In the real world, regardless of one's race or cultural background, everyone has the same emotions and their own internal dialogue. Everyone is capable of fear and love and kindness. And in theory, we can overcome our differences and learn to live together in peace and harmony. But this is not true of the demons of Frieren. They are not capable of love or kindness. They do not raise their own young, and spend most of their early years alone. And they only work with each other when it's strategically advantageous for them. And if one of their comrades dies, they simply do not care. Oh, sure, sometimes they'll pretend to care about a mother or father in order to provoke sympathy from human beings, but if you actually ask them to explain what a mother or father was, they couldn't really give you a clean answer. Because of this, most of the human characters of Frieren, and our titular protagonist, have decided that peace between demons and humans is impossible, and the only solution to their existence is conflict. But here's the thing. I don't agree that peace between these two species is impossible. To be clear, I don't think this is bad writing. It makes sense for the characters to think this way. I just don't agree with them. And the fact that the show is able to provoke this kind of discussions is itself very good writing. The reason I don't agree with these characters is because while the demons of Frieren are fundamentally inhuman, they are also more than just intelligent animals. They have emotions and ideology. This is admittedly a hard thesis to defend. One of these demons themselves, a man named Lugnor, says that it is an accurate assessment to say that demons are just intelligent animals who use language as a way of deceiving human beings. But I don't agree with him either. For you see, this very demon in episodes 9 and 10 fights the human mage Frieren, and he learns that Frieren has been suppressing her mana, hiding her inherent power level in order to lure demons like him into underestimating her until it is too late. His response is very telling. Were he merely an intelligent animal, as he claims, he would probably say something along the lines of,
"Well, that's a clever trick. We'll have to look out for that again in future."
Instead, what he says is this.
"That's not fair! You're a disgrace to all mages. I'm telling Lady Guillotine on you."
Okay, I'm exaggerating, but his response does imply that he believes in a unspoken code of conduct, that she has acted unfairly. Well, I'm sorry, Lugnar, but fairness? Well, that seems to imply a system of right and wrong by which the world might be judged. An ideology, if you will. A very human characteristic. It is an ideology which believes it is natural for the strong to succeed and the weak to suffer under them. He objects to victories where the weak may succeed by means of deceit or clever strategy, because the fact that this is possible undermines his entire ideology. Admittedly, it is a stupid ideology, but it is still an ideology. It is an irrational belief in something greater than himself, by which he defines who he is and how he interacts with the world, and which he maintains faith in even when shown direct evidence to the contrary. It is because of this that he believes himself to be nothing more than an intelligent animal. But the capacity for this is something that we have long thought only humans capable of. The fact that he can believe in anything means that despite his own claims to the contrary, he does not just use language as a way of deceiving humans. He uses language to think and to define both himself and the world around him. Compare this to the illusion-creating monster from episode 5. This creature creates ghost-like illusions of a person's loved ones in order to lure them into a forest so it can eat them. The illusions are drawn from the victim's memory and speak to them, saying exactly what the victim thinks that person would have said. In Fern's case, the illusion takes the form of her dead adopted father, who had promised her that he would return to haunt her if she was a good girl. The illusion reminds her of that heartbreaking memory in order to deceive her. In the case of Frieren, it takes the form of Himmel, her lost love, who says to her,
Frieren, ute.
For you see, Himmel was a monster-slaying hero, who, were he actually in this situation, would willingly sacrifice himself in order to defeat the monster. This is a creature that only uses language as a way of deceiving humans. Clearly the creature here does not understand what it is making the likeness of Himmel say. If it did, it would not have Himmel say this. But like an AI, it doesn't understand the language it uses. It only takes information from people's memories and shapes it into something its victims want to hear. This is not how demons use language. They may not understand meanings of the word mother or father, but they know enough language to communicate, not only with their victims, but with each other. And they have an internal dialogue where they think in language to themselves. So, how does any of this make peace possible between humans and demons? Well, put simply, we can talk to them. Admittedly, we cannot appeal to their goodwill and decency. Kindness, love, and generosity are not things that we have in common, and they are not the solution to this question. But there is no reason we cannot logic our way into peace. In episode 8, Frieren remembers a time when an unnamed demon child is adopted by a human village. All is well until the demon child kills her adopted father and offers that man's daughter to a couple to make amends for eating their child. This is a deeply horrifying event and betrays a fundamental lack of understanding of love and human decency. But it is telling that the child wanted to make amends at all, for she wanted to live in peace with human beings, but didn't understand how to do it. If humans could convince demons that it is in their logical best interest to live in peace, and get the demons to ideologically commit to this position, then there is no reason that peace should be impossible. Some might say that demons' desire to eat human beings is far too great, but it's not as if we see any great expressions of hunger on the part of the demons in Frieren. There's no reason they can't get their protein from somewhere else. It seems likely that the reason they mobilize against human beings and elves before them is because these races represent the greatest threat to them, and therefore it will be all the more appealing to them if peace were on the table. Demons of Frieren are a fascinating example of an inhuman intelligent creature. They are deep down fundamentally alien, and they lack the bounds of love and friendship that hold humanity together. But do we really need to be the same as someone else on a deeper level in order to exist with them in harmony? When discussing conflict between groups of people, we often talk about humanity's capacity to dehumanize the other, to construct complex systems of ideology, hatred, and otherness, in order to convince oneself that another human being is not a person because of X and Y and Z. But the reasons humans create this system of elaborate otherness is because we have so great an innate capacity for empathy to counteract. It only takes 3 dots to make a face. We draw lines between the stars and project our own shapes onto them. When we encounter something we don't understand, our first instinct is to assume that it has thoughts and feelings like we do. When this impulse is proven false, when we encounter what is fundamentally inhuman, but nevertheless looks and sounds like us, we feel profoundly betrayed. But this is an obstacle to the understanding of the world around us. Just because something does not think or feel the same way we do, it does not necessarily make it our enemy.
頭撫でんなよ。